Okay, guys. Thanks for coming back. We appreciate that. We
Hello?
were on a little
Can you hear
mini
me?
vacation, and because of that, we haven't really been making videos, but we're gonna get started back up. As always, like and subscribe, yada yada yada. Give comments if you have any questions, and we'll try to answer them. All right. We're just gonna do a quick review. It's Monday night. I mean Sunday night, week one for the NFL fans out there. So and then I had guests earlier, so I've been a little bit occupado. And yes, it's
I'm
uh
in a meeting. Okay,
it's just been, it is what it
okay, I'm
is.
gonna
So
do. There's one
we'll do
downstairs.
a quick review. Someone's talking in the background, but that's fine because she doesn't like pressing mute. But hey, it is what it is. All right. So we have what is this thing called? It's called American Airlines. We like to trade this one. I know there's Southwest and better companies, better airlines, but we like to trade this one because it's cheap and even though it's less than $1, um, and we tend to like to hold this for a little bit, and it did get down to nearly $9. Not quite, but it got close. And since then, if you bought it August, at the beginning of August, um, that first week in August, you got basically you went from like 9.15 to 11.15. So that's $2. Um, so let's take a look at this. Let's see. So this was trending down for the longest time. Back since June. And for a good reason because there was been a lot of issues. Now it's starting to come back up. You haven't seen that in the 50-day moving average uptick. You haven't seen it turn yet. But it's one of those things that it's summer, you're not gonna see it. You won't see any change until you get into the probably close to the end of the third quarter. And then it should start coming up. But it was a good time to get in. We passed our $10 10.80 level here. So when it got here, you could watch, but you easily saw that it tanked because it started to go down even before it gapped down. So there was no support here like previous situations back last year. This was October. So obviously because of that, you wanted to wait, but how far were you gonna wait? You basically this was 842 at the bottom. This was 2020. So you always kind of have to use 2020 as a reference. When people couldn't travel or do anything, if it got to this level of 808, the likelihood of it getting to this level now is kind of unlikely. It really doesn't make sense. So the fact that it got to like 9.15 is kind of like it got very close. So, you could have said, "Hey, I'm going to buy in at 9.50 or something like that," because that was in this COVID area here. And if American Airline gaps down lower than this COVID point where everything was shut down, you have more issues coming. So this was a very good buy. And I wouldn't even blame people if they had bought it around 11, but then when it gapped down, obviously you had to get out, you know, or you would have just averaged in. Because if you wanted to buy it at 11, let's say you started out with 100 shares, you bought it at 11, then it gapped down to freaking whatever this was, like 9 something. If you bought another 100 shares, then you would have said, oh, I averaged in another 100 shares, that's $10. So then your average would have been $10. Or you could have got, if you bought 200 shares, it would have been 950, and you still would have had a very good setup here. So when it came up, you could have made money. So just because you bought it at our level, this $11 level, that's not a bad thing, because when you buy it at that level, you don't buy all of your shares like, oh, I'm going to buy 1,000,000 shares at $11, because it may not support this area. It may keep going down, as you saw that it did. Even when it got to like 10, you could have been like, damn, questioning it. Okay. But definitely when it gapped down. But what you would have said is, oh, I want to buy 500 shares overall of American Airlines. It got to my level. So when it gets to 11, let's say I buy 20% of that. Okay. Now, 20%, all right, it gaps down another 30 cents. That's an issue. All right. So it gets down, let's say it wicks down to this 984. All right, let me watch this. It came back up. So even if you had averaged in it here and it came back up, you could have got back out and got a few dollars before it gapped down. When it gapped down here, yes, you would have been concerned. But if you only had 100 or 200 shares, 20 to 40% of your total, then you could have easily said, let me average in. I'll average in and be at like around 950, $10. And so then when it started to come back up, you still could have made money. That's how you don't lose yourself, just because this made a major gap down, which was kind of unexpected because this is COVID area here. If you only start out with like 10 to 20% of what you want to end up being in total, then you don't get screwed totally if it goes below your level, a lot below your level. You can always average in and then still be at a midpoint, and then when it starts to come back up, um don't just don't go all in immediately, is what I'm saying. um Apple, this is the favorite stock, obviously. So obviously you guys know there's a an election in the United States coming along, and uh you should know that eventually, after the election, we're probably gonna have a little recession or something like that. That's just normal. That's what happens. That's what they're planning on happening. We really haven't had a recession in a long time. Interest rates are very high, and they need to come down. People are not getting loans, people are not buying houses. So because of that, they're trying to keep things afloat and hold things up until after the election, because they don't want people to panic until after the election, after holidays, whatever it is. So because of that, they're gonna lie to people and then say, oh, in November, December, January, oh, we're in a recession now. When, you know, if you read the tea leaves, you would have known that. So here we got to a high point of 235, 240, whatever you want to call it. And then we got to another high point of this 231. This may go down a little bit, and then you may get a third bump up. I think this is preparing itself to go down. That's what I think. Um, but only time will tell. This thing's gonna skyrocket and go to 400, 400, 300, or whatever. But just basing on the time of the season we're in, basing it on the election year and all of that, and the interest rates and everything that's going on, I feel we're preparing for a downturn. So, just something to look at. That doesn't mean you still can't make money going long and you still can make money going down, but just be aware of the overall trend, you know? So this is more long term. We're looking at going down. I like to think of Miss Munoz's 60-minute chart as medium term, aka 1 to 3 weeks, maybe 1 to 2 weeks. It seems like we should be going up a little bit based off of this, going into the next week. And then the 1 minute chart, I like to look at that as very short term, aka daily. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if we got a little bit of a pick me up on Monday if you got this at 220, and then it will go down for Tuesday. Going into Tuesday. AMD, we haven't really been looking at this that much because we've been trading NVDA. It looks exactly like Apple to me on the 1 minute. Same thing as the 60 minute. It looks eerily like Apple if you don't look at the numbers. And yeah, it's a little bit different here. This is more extended. But we did get, let's see. This is in a different level. We got a high here. It looks like Apple was a little bit further behind. That wicked up. We got this 230 high, and then we kind of went down here to this level. We kind of went back up to 185, 190, whatever you want to call it. Went down again, and now we got a little mountain, and we're going down. So this seems like it may be going down quicker. Because it's just starting to come down based on the 50-day. And don't get it wrong, all of these have wonderful earnings. These are tech stocks. They all have great earnings. They're making money hand over fist. The problem is people want to get their money. We're going into a downturn, and you have to take your foot off the gas sometime. Even if a stock's great, doing great, it has to sometime it has to go down, It can't just go to the moon like straight up or whatever. That's not gonna happen. So that being said, Amazon, this thing looks like it's about to turn down. I personally would like to see it finish filling this gap, maybe go up another week or so and then come back down. But long term, for let's say for the next short term, the next 2 to 3 weeks, I do like the idea of going at this like a short. So it looks like we got to our level here. We went down to our buying level here. This was a selling level. This was our buying level. If you bought it back in January, ooh, what was this? No, this was 2023. This took a freaking year to go through. And let's see, January, whether this hit. It's an apex. Yeah, it's like a year. It's over a year. So, when it hit this bottom, yeah, over a year. This cycle is like a year, let's say. I'm gonna call this January 1st, 2022, 2023. No, that was 2023, yeah. 2024. So a year and a half, basically, probably 2 years if we hit to the end of this year. But it took like a year and a half cycle to cycle through to get back to the top again, to get back to this level. And so now you would assume, people, that the cycle's going to be, if you're looking at this and it's coming back down, you're going to make that assumption that, oh, back in, I don't know, July, August, or whatever, we got to the apex here, and then it went down the end of the year. It took a year to get to the bottom. So you're going to make the assumption here that it's going to take a year, people, to get to the bottom again for our Amazon. So that's something you got to think about when you look at these cycles, how long it's going to take. So you may say, hey, I'm going to buy this stock, 100 shares here at $200. And then, 3 months later, where's it going to be? It's only here 3 months later. No, you have to let the cycle execute. Okay. So you may have to hold on to this for a good, maybe you hold on to it for a year and get some of your money back. But if you want to get to the full cycle, you may have to hold on to it for the full year and a half. And then once you buy it again,
Or you can get out and get it at a better price, because if you know it's gonna go down, you can get it at a better price.
yes, so you have to decide what you want to do. If you want to hold this long term, let's say you have a cash account and you're just like, boom, let me buy it now here, or let me buy it at 200 or whatever. Hopefully it gets, maybe bounces back at 200 real quick. And then you get it, and then you say, hey, I'm just going to say at 91, 92, whatever you pick, maybe a little bit higher, I'm going to get out. So you make that decision ahead of time. But that's what you would do with your cash account. If you have a margin account and you're using margin, maybe you say, I don't care for that. I'm just going to trade daily and make my money. But you want to know that this is trending down, always trending down. Even though you may go long on a day or 2 days or 3 days, but overall it's always trending down. So your long-term goal is just going to be, you're going to go down. Maybe you buy a couple options. You buy an option for a year and a half from now. So that's something to look at. BA. Oh, this is interesting. 157. Okay. This is literally in no man's land, this 157. So it's really like, eh. What's the point of buying it? Probably going down.
The
Could come
trend is
back
still
up.
going down, especially if you see that the 200 is over the 100. So that tells you it's going to continue to go down at least for a while.
The trend is going down. It's in no man's land. It may have some up days or whatever, but it's trending down. So even though you may say, oh my God, Boeing is such a cheap price, still try to hold out and just wait. Put your, if you like your alerts, put your alert here, or put, hey, let me buy one share. That's what I did with what you call it, DraftKings. I bought my one share at 35, between 30 and 35, and now I'm in it, and I may buy a few more shares. But put your notification at like 120, 121 or something like that, 125 or something like that, and just wait. Just be patient. Well, these are your levels until the ticker shows you different levels. Just go with the levels that are already developed. They were developed for a reason. You're not a stupid person. It's proven to you over and over, and it will be proven this time. We've crashed through this kind of semi-level right now. It's kind of going everywhere, but it's really no support. and it may come back up here. It may even come back here, but it's going to go down here, and that's where it's trending. Long term, this is where you want to look at. So that's something you want to look at long term. Boeing again, and the floor. Take a look at that. Because I like the buy on Boeing. But I want to get it here. Bank of America, I'm really not interested in this now. Because normally I would say when interest rates go down, you get more loans and the banks will do better. But because Bank of America is a larger bank, it's in a different class. And also, we're still going to be going into a recession. So that's another thing. And it does feel like this is starting to trend down. So I would just stay away. Car, it's at 69. It's like we know where that's going to. All I can say is if it does a little spike up, buy it. If not, just be prepared. Um, you know, uh, we had it going, uh, basically back to pre-COVID terms. So we basically had it going eventually back to $30, but you could be nice and say it's basically $30 eventually. So if it does a little uptick, buy it. But I think the writings on the wall is kind of obvious now. Um, uh, coin, yeah, this did a total collapse really quick. Trending down now. I was thinking it may even get to the 280, but it never got there. It didn't even get there. I had been thinking that it could get to its level of 280, but it got to 260, so it couldn't even get there. It was too weak. So this is why, even if you like something, this is just a word of caution. If you like something and you see it's trending up and it's going to hit this previous 280 level, don't just have your out at 280. You may get rid of half of it at 250. Okay, then maybe say, 270, because this barely went to 270, 271, 273, maybe in change, and then it boom dropped. It didn't get to the full 280. So don't be greedy and say, I'm gonna get this freaking top of echelon. You only get that with a very strong stock. What you want to do is you want to say, hey, let's look at this midpoint, this 250. It should bump up a little bit, maybe get 260, 270, but don't go for the apex always. Because yes, in a strong stock, it will come up a little bit above the apex and then come back down. But in a weak stock like this, it won't hit the apex. It'll hit close. Even though this is the level, it's a range. It's like high range, low range. So between 250 and 280, go in between and say, all right, halfway between, I'm going to get 260 or 265. That would be the halfway point. So then, yes, you're going to miss out on some money if you get out at 265, but you're not going to be asked out and be expecting this 280 price and it never gets there and then you're lost. It got to the level, it just got to the range level, not the apex level. And anyone with a brain would say you're not gonna try to get the apex level because the point is that you want to get out before the big ballers come in and say, boom, bring it down. Between here and here, this is kind of like the level. So if you want to be conservative, you're like, boom, I got my 100, 200 shares. I'm getting out at 250. I made my money back. If you want to be somewhere in the middle, you say, hey, I'm going to get out at 265. but you don't go to the top level, because then you're playing with fire. Because if they bring it down, your little 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 shares, your little 1,000 shares or 2,000 shares will never bring it back up. Okay? Um uh Campbell's Campbell's, it's getting there, and it got there, and it'll probably continue to get there um as we get into the winter. Our 255 level, it took longer than I wanted it to take. I'm pissed off, but hey, it was being a business to us before. And so when it was at this 40 for a long time, it came back up, then it went back down, and I just got pissed off, and I got out when it went up a little bit. Okay. I just got pissed off. But that being said, it has slowly but surely, boom, 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 it's over 50. It's still climbing, and most likely you're going to get to this 55 because we're going in the winter. I just didn't expect it to take that long. But like I said, it's a seasonal stock, and it took longer than we expected, but it made it, and it's making it. It seems a little bit weak, so maybe you want to get out at 52, 53 instead of the 55. So that's another thing. Disney is just, Disney's just been issues after issues after issues. It couldn't get after this area right here. This is where it's been coming back before, and it came back down again, and we couldn't get out of we couldn't, it just came back down. It's been very weak. Um, Earnings, it did well for earnings, but it's just this has been a level where it's coming back down. Um, if you want to try to get it here, you can try to get it here. If you want to average in, this is just $4 more. It got down to 84. You can start averaging in now if you like it, but you have to understand, when we talked about the recession, people, as we did in the beginning, in the voting season and all of that, this could drop below this level, because if we're in a recession, people are not going to go to Disneyland. Okay. So it's something that you got to look at. But then you got to say, if we do go into a recession, are things going to go lower than this 80? Because this 80 was when everything was closed down. As you can see, it did dip a little bit low below that. So that's not a good sign right there. That it back in 2023 October, it went all the way down. I think that was when they were, arguing with DeSantis, and he was suing them. They were suing him and stuff. But that's not a good sign, because it says it's weak. And if it's hitting this COVID level, that's not going to be a good sign. So be prepared. Maybe you want to say, hey, I want to make sure it's coming back up before I get in. Or maybe you say, hey, let me see if it jumps below this, because if we get into a recession and it was weak here, it could easily drop out of this area. That's Disney. Dix, it has been doing good. I can't explain why Dix are doing good. I guess people buy a lot of I don't know, sports stuff. um I wouldn't think this would come down now that we're into school season. Um, this is interesting that it's this low on the short term, the 60-minute chart. Um, um, hmm, I don't know if this is turning or not, or what. I just don't know. It got to a high here, 240. Um, I look at this all like it could easily come down, but this Dick's has been one of the stronger retail. So Dick's may come back up a little bit because this could easily break out, you know? Um, and it's one of those things that, yes, we could get into a freaking a downturn, but if this is one of the stronger ones, then hey, it could come up. So just be aware of this because you have strong stocks and this eventually will come down, but it will be maybe one of the last ones to come down. So it's just think about that. Dollar Tree, we know where that's at. Um, it's dying a slow death. And I think one of them has to fail for the other one to succeed. I really, really do. Um, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm blinded here. We're getting down to 2020 again. I don't see how. To me, Dollar Tree is so different from General Dollar. You know, like, and it's different from Family Dollar to me.
Dollar General.
Yeah, Dollar General, and Family Dollar. It's just different. If Family Dollar is Dollar Tree, like, to me, I would never go to a Dollar General, but I would go to a Dollar Tree. I like that store a lot, and I would go to a Family Dollar. But I don't like Dollar Tree. But maybe it's a thing because Dollar General's more. Is it Dollar General or General Dollar?
Dollar General.
Dollar General is more in the South or whatever, more rural areas. So this is something I'm gonna be looking at. Um, I feel that this should come up for the holidays, but I do want to see if it touches this 60. It's a stock I want to watch, and I'm just curious that hey, maybe I could get a low price and ride it up. Um, so EBC, similar to Bank of America, except EBC is a small regional bank, so you have to be a little bit more careful with this because um, if there's a bank scare, Bank of America will get the benefit of the doubt. EBC won't, even if their cash and on hand is good. Just because it's a regional small bank, it's just not going to get that benefit of the doubt. We had our gap down. We somehow found support here. Um, Maybe this is kind of like a support level now, even though it wasn't before. And it kind of stopped. I probably should put a line here. Um, um, so this level right here, and then it starts to come back down. The next thing I do want to see is where do we what do we do when we get back here? If you like EBC, this $15 may be a buying area. And so let it come back up. Does it come back up to the same level? Does it come back up a little bit shorter and then come back down? This is a wash right here. Is it going to get to the next mountain and go up or come down, have a smaller mountain and come back down again? We have to just watch it. I don't want to predict the future on that. I got 5 minutes, so I've been talking long-winded, so I'm not gonna go crazy. We're not gonna cover everything. We're just gonna cover a few. Google, same thing here. This is a cycle. Let me just zoom in a little bit so we can see the cycle. We see our low level back in 2020. This was obviously COVID times. So basically, we had a level here. We got up to this level, 151, and then we came back down to our 86 level. Okay. Then we got to this level and we had all-time highs and it broke through. So this is a new level here. So now that tells you it was very strong. This level, this new level that we have here, and this is some resistance. So now we're going to find out when we go back down to the 150, what does it do? Does it bounce back up? The 50 days trending down, but let's see what happens. Let's see if we get another bounce up or if it continues to go down. Based on the fact that this got here way above this original all-time high, I think it probably will come back up, but we don't know. Okay. We saw that from July 5th to what is this? July, August, basically all of August, 2 months. It took that long, that amount of time to go from 190 to whatever this is, 150. So 60, 70, 80, 90, that's $40. So let's see how long it's going to take over the next 2 months. It could come back. Okay. That gives us just enough time to have the election. So let's see. It's something to watch. I'm gonna do one more and then call it a day. I'm done with this. So I'm gonna skip a lot. I'll let someone call out a name who's on the line with me. Whatever name someone calls out, I'll do.
Did you want to do the SPY?
Okay. Okay, someone's being a little bit different, but they like the SPY now. All right. So we're gonna do the S&P 500 index. So let's see how we've been doing. We got our dividends here. They're paying out like clockwork. Boom, boom, boom. And I've never evaluated this. So let's try to evaluate this a little bit. So let's see, where's our COVID? Okay, so this is obviously COVID.
Can you put it at a monthly, please?
Can I do that afterwards?
Yes.
After I get finished laying this out? Okay. So we did this here. And let's see, what do we have? Since COVID, we got to an all-time high. So this was the new area back in 2022, right here. Boom. Obviously, this was the new bottom. Okay, so you have some support here. Then you have support here again. And then it came back up. It totally passed the level, so it's strong. We know it's strong. So this is like 1, 2. It's not even coming down to this level. So it's like, boom, I'm going to wick close and then come back up. So we know the SPY is strong. That's one thing we know about this. Now, the question is, do we see a forecast any downturns? I think you could probably put some support here, maybe do a range here, but I kind of like just having these base levels right here for the SPY. Because right now we're above this and we want to see if it hits this.